Hey guys, Katie, how are you guys doing? I saw that was it your stepdaughter that had to go back up north? How often do you guys get to see her?
Okay, figured out how to. We get her all summer and then like all of her breaks, and then we usually make it up there a couple times.
Okay. And where does she live?
She lives in Coeur d'Alene.
Okay. Oh, that's so hard. That is
It's really
so hard.
It is.
Well, I'm sure you are an amazing stepmother. You guys look like you have a very close relationship.
Yes, I'm very thankful for her.
Okay, we're going to wait for just a second and then we're going to get started. Hey, Kara. Hey, Christine. Hey, Nance. Hey, Liz. Kara, are you decluttering right now? Oh.
Sorry, I am doing the dishes.
Oh, good for you. Good for you. We started watching that tidying up show last night that everybody's talking about. Have you guys seen that yet?
No.
Megan, have you seen that tidying up show with Maria K something? It's on Netflix. Anyways, it's like all the rage and it's all about like decluttering and cleaning up and like just organizing your life and getting rid of all the junk. And so at 10:30 last night, I started organizing our closet. Shouldn't have done that. Okay. Nancy just heard about last night. You do. You need to check it out, especially with you about to have 4 kids. I'm sure that your life needs to be decluttered. I can't even imagine. We just have 2 kids and life is like insanity. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. I am going to start recording. Oh, it is recording. This is embarrassing. Okay, well, we'll tell people not to pay attention to the first 2 minutes. Okay, so welcome you guys to our January team call. I am very, very excited to connect with you guys all and share a few things with you guys for the first few minutes. And then Megan is going to jump on in about 10 minutes and she's going to share some of her tips. I'm so, so excited about it. So this month, well, I'm going to tell you guys something. And I really am sad that I'm not seeing anybody's face. Oh, hey, Christine. Hey, girl. Hey. Okay. So this is something, I don't know if you guys had a chance to watch this last night, but in that contest sweepers video that they did a live last night, I think it limited to only 100. So not everybody was able to jump on. But Megan Goff, who's going to be sharing today, she was one of the very first to start speaking. And she said this quote, and I don't know if it's a quote or she just said it, but like I wrote it down because I thought it was so beautiful. She said, success doesn't often come to the most talented or the smartest. It comes to those who are diligent and consistent and those who put in massive action. And I love that because it's taken me years to realize I don't have to have the most beautiful or the most creative social media. I just have to share. I don't have to have the best story or testimonial. I just have to share. I don't have to have the best messages or like I'm the most awkward person in the world. And that is okay as long as I'm being diligent and I'm being consistent and I'm doing the things. I'm putting in massive action. And I think there's a lot of us, myself included, that let fear or if only I were more this, if only I were more this, that holds us back from doing the massive action, and the massive action is what's going to bring about the success. And don't let that scare you. When I say that, I feel like, oh, that means I'm going to have to be working 18 hours a day. You don't have to. And I think we're going to hear that today with Megan, and I'm really, really excited about it. But she was talking yesterday about the contest. Raise of hands. I don't see Kristen, Megan, or Nancy, so I can't see your hands, but you could do an emoji on the chat. Raise your hands if you are planning on going to convention this year. Christine is not sure. Katie's not sure. Okay, but Karen and I for sure are going to be there. So even if you are not sure, I want you guys to hit the ground running. And Kristen, I'm going to use you as an example. She worked her tail off. Kristen's giving me a square, so that means she's coming to convention. I'm banking on it. Okay, so Kristen she worked really hard at the end of August to earn the Leaders Retreat cruise, and she earned it. But she has since told me, I am kicking myself now that I didn't believe in myself sooner to try for this sooner. And that's what it was. And correct me if I'm wrong, Kristen, but that's what it was. She didn't believe she could do it, so she didn't even put forth the effort. And then she's like, I can do this. And then she did it within like a couple of days. And she's kicked herself that she didn't do it sooner. And that is something I really want to encourage you guys. I really, really am not big on going for contests. I'm really big on being consistent and steady and doing the work. I do not like to have I don't like to go to people and say, hey, I'm about to earn $2,000 and I could really use your help. Will you please buy a trial pack for me? Like, that is not my thing, because I feel like that then makes it about me and what I'm going to gain. And I want my people who I'm talking to know that my heart is for them, because I believe these products are going to help them. And I believe this opportunity could help them. And so that's my focus for the next 4 months, is to make sure that I'm hitting the ground running right now, because I would love to earn the $2,000 convention contest prize. I mean, right? Like, how many of you legitimately think I could do this? Like, not Emily, but Katie, Kara, Christine, I could earn this $2,000. Raise your hand if you could. Christine's hesitant. Katie and Kara are positive. Christine, we're going to work on your mindset, sister. It is possible. But work now. And that's what she said yesterday in the call. Was her husband is an emerald, I believe, and she is a diamond. And she asked her husband, what are some tips that you would say to earn this top prize of the convention? And he said, 1, massive action for you doing massive action. And that's not just sending out 3 messages a day. That's really being massive with your action. And 2, duplicating that massive action. I don't know if you guys saw, but when you help a level 1 go silver, that's 75 credits right there. That's huge. And I love it because the contest is not heavily focused on PV anymore. The most PV that you're rewarded is if you have 1,000 PV. And I'm telling you, I think all of us could get 1,000 PV. It's truly not that hard, because, we've got some really incredible products. So, just real quick, Megan looks like she just hopped on, but let's wrap this up for a minute. This month is going to be another focus from team-led power half hours. I'm really excited about it. Right now, we've got Megan, we've got Kara, we've got Hannah, and we've got Mallory that are all committed to leading some power half hours this month. I'm going to be leading some power half hours, and I'm really excited. I don't know if some of you guys know my friend Paige Greenway, but we are going to be connecting with Paige and her team, and we are going to do a slim and meta burn trial challenge, 5-day, and I'll go through all those details later, but it's actually going to start on the 14th, so 1 week from today, which I know is kind of crazy, but it's going to be a slim and meta burn challenge, and we're connecting with them, and we're going to do a power hour with her team this upcoming Wednesday in the afternoon. I know that's not good for everybody. Sorry, I know that's not good for everybody, but we got to just do what we can do. And I'll record that one. And then I will let everybody know what the calendar is. I've just kind of been trying to really piece it together. I'm really excited too. We are going to do a business event on Trust Your Gut, an online event where it's going to be 30 minutes, maybe an hour on Trust Your Gut, which is going to be fun because a lot of our potentials are on that page already. And then we're going to add people to it. We're going to do a 3-day blitz prior to that, where we're going to help with message examples that you guys can be sending out to potentials, add them to Trust Your Gut. And then on Thursday night, the 24th, we're going to do just an online thing. And we'll have a few of us share our stories live. And then a few of us do posted stories with just our business testimonial. So I'm really excited about that. And then we're going to have some other fun things this next month. Who is going to Super Saturday, or who is signed up to listen to the live? I know Kara is in Little Rock. Christine, you're doing live. I know you're working that day. Katie, you're in Boise. Megan, I think she's probably doing something. She's probably leading it. Nancy's doing live stream. Kristen, you're doing live. Good. Okay, excellent. So exciting. And if you guys are going to a location, bring some people. You've got the opportunity event. Bring some people that you've been talking to. Katie in Boise, we're going to have some flipping awesome diamonds. And I think that in Boise and every other location for the opportunity event, Plexus is sending a full line of their products, and they're giving away products to people at the opportunity event. So that's another way you guys can be encouraging your potentials to come to this opportunity event, because they for sure could possibly win one of the products. Okay, so Megan, I don't see you. I see a lower hand. If you are ready, show me your face. If not, we can keep going. Okay, we'll keep going for just a minute. And then lastly, before Megan jumps on, I wanted us to share one positive change that you saw in your health or in one of your customers' health this past year. And just unmute yourself and just holler it out.
My friend Leanne Roth, she's a nurse that I work with. She went off both of her antidepressants this year, and she's been on the products for 5 months now, just on Triplex. So it's been awesome.
Hey guys, so I will speak for myself and just say that my energy is crazy. I just can't stop raving about it. I feel like I was walking around in a coma all the time a year ago today. And I feel so much more energetic. Like I feel like I should be feeling.
My husband, he would probably get 2 or 3 sinus infections a year, and it would take him out of work. And I would be a single mom for a couple of days because he was just dead to the world for a couple of days, at least 2 or 3 times a year. He has not had a single sinus infection in over 2 years, which is a huge, huge deal. I mean, that affects everybody. And who even knew that sinus infections reside, like a huge part of that was because you have fungus in your gut. Who even knew that sinus infections were connected to the gut? Okay, let's do 2 more. Anybody else see big changes? Not even big. Anything with your health or with a customer's health?
I have a lot more energy. I've started to I share about it a lot, but my pregnancy with Hank was a lot better. I didn't gain as much weight. I'm starting to lose weight a lot easier after this time around. So I'm pretty happy, in general, with the amount of energy I have to keep up with 2 really dependent little babies and still function as a human being. So yay.
And that affects everybody in your family. Okay, and Nancy, I don't know if you can speak because I know that you have technical difficulties sometimes, but I know her husband has been on the products just for a little while, and I think he's lost 15 pounds. So pretty exciting. But I wanted us to share that just to remind ourselves, there's power in these products, and they are life-changing. That is affecting Christine's love of life and general happiness now, and losing weight and feeling more energetic and sleeping deeper. That is affecting her kids. That's affecting her husband. That's affecting her work life. That's affecting everything. So you guys just remember, going into anybody you approach, that this could really, really help so many people. Okay, I'm going to pass it over to Megan. She's got a list of questions. I'm going to start taking notes frivolously. So Megan, if I'm looking down, it's just because I'm taking notes of all your brilliance. So girl, you take it away. Megan, are you there? Can you hear us? There we go. Hey, girl. Okay. I don't know. There we go. I'm going to mute whatever that Megan's iPhone is. Megan, take it away. We are done, and we are ready to just learn from you.
Hey guys, can you guys hear me okay? Good to go? Okay, so if you do not know me, my name is Megan Goff, and I'm a Diamond Ambassador with Plexus. I started my journey about 4 years ago, so Valentine's Day of 2015, and I actually was a big no thank you to Plexus for about 18 months because I thought it looked like weight loss and some kind of crazy MLM thing. But I trusted the source because I actually heard about Plexus through Shoshana Easley about 5 years ago. But I was not in the frame of mind to hear about it because I was in my own health crisis because I had a lot of, tons of health issues. It was kind of the snowball effect of bad things. I was told before I was 30 that I would not have any more kids. I was in menopause. We uncovered an autoimmune thyroid disease, and I just had a lot of like really wonky health symptoms. Like I had really bad brain fog. I had struggled with like sugar cravings for years, but I didn't realize that was really linked to the health of my gut. And anyways, all that to say, long story short, we found out we had mold in our house, and I was really toxic from that. So long story short, one thing off in your body can cause a whole snowball of effects. And the same goes for when you start rebalancing things, that snowball effect can go in the other direction on the correct curve, right? So I slowly started to heal. I worked with a naturopath for about 18 months. And I gave Plexus some more thought because I had multiple people reaching out to me, people in my circle that I trusted. I didn't actually know Shoshana personally at that point. I had just bought herbs from her for years. I actually followed her for probably a decade and a half, always wishing I knew her because I wanted to ask her health questions and hear her brain space on some stuff. But I knew because Shoshana had reached out first, I knew that the products were good. And so when I started seeing different people, relatives, friends, I had multiple people reaching out to me, posting about it, and really educating about gut health. So that's what I tracked with when I started seeing on Facebook. And the funny thing, I actually remember seeing pictures from Super Saturday of 2015 before I ever joined. And it was like, that's interesting. And then the girl ended up messaging me about breastfeeding and Plexus. She's like, hey, my sister is really having good results with her breastfeeding and using Plexus supplements, so she reached out to me. And this is crazy, but I reached out to every single person I knew that had ever done Plexus or that had any affiliation with Plexus at all. So if you know the color personalities, I was kind of a chameleon because in the beginning I was very, very green because one, I wanted to know that the products were top notch. I wanted to know that the company had integrity. So I was just kind of like in this big, research mode. And so I started messaging all the people trying to figure out more information. And I didn't really put a lot of thought into this because I probably should have been more upfront with people like, hey, I'm just gathering information. Because I now know from this perspective, like if someone messages me about Plexus, I'm like, yeah, I'm signing her up. And so I ended up joining my friend Carrie Netherton. She's actually from not specifically from this little tiny farm community, but my sister went to school with her. Like our families are farm families in this area. So, we had history with their family, and she just was the follow-up queen with me. And was never pushy, but she just was always like trying to get me information. And not that the other people I had messaged weren't helpful or didn't provide me information, but for example, one of the girls I had messaged had promised me a sample, and she got back with me, which they moved and they were in a, you know how life is. It's just crazy sometimes. But she didn't get back with me for like 4 months, maybe 5 months. And by the time she had messaged me, I think I might have been gold or senior gold. I was like, oh dear, bummer, right? So it was kind of a wake up call to me. It's all a learning curve, right? Like I had no idea when I started that I was going to share. I just thought, I need the products. It makes sense. I was postpartum actually with Miracle Baby number 5 because we ended up having a baby after I got healthy, actually 2 babies. But at that point I was postpartum, had a lot of blood sugar, like just bottoming out. And my gut health, my thyroid issue was in remission, and my gut was healthier, but not like healthy. I was still having some issues. And so it made sense for me to transition over from what my naturopath was having me do to Plexus supplements. I liked that it was combination products. It was less expensive, more comprehensive. It was addressing not just gut, but also blood sugar. So I also had, even though I wasn't necessarily thinking business, I am entrepreneurial. I think outside the box. You know, I see Shoshana and some other people in health and wellness circles I had followed for a lot of years, like all of a sudden, like really successful in Plexus. And so I'm like, well, the products have to work and they have to be good for these people that I trust to do so well. So I just kind of had that in the back of my mind. And so I started the products and actually quit 2 weeks in because I thought it was tanking my milk supply. And then was really, I felt like it was kind of helping me redeem the time because I'm a researcher. I like to know information. I love health and wellness. So I would sit and nurse my baby in the wee hours of the morning and listen to YouTube videos about the products. And then naturally, like you just kind of hop on, end up like listening, like blitz listening, binging on YouTube videos, right? So some of them were business videos like Charlotte Seams, Lori Harrison. Like I was listening to some of those people share about the business, like, and it made sense, like sharing. And so it was just kind of this, you know, process, this organic transition of, oh, this makes sense, I should probably share. And then of course I was added to Jessica Heffley's team page, and if you know Jessica Heffley, she's a go-getter gal, and she was speaking my language. And so I mean, to make a long story short, I did not go silver very quickly. I joined on Valentine's Day, went silver at the very end of April with 3 very rando people. One was a good friend, and then a couple people were just people that saw my posts. So I did not do like the whole call your mom and BFF and sisters up, okay? To this day, none of my sisters have even taken Plexus, and I'm from a big family. So all that to say, you can be a diamond without like some of the people closest to you. Like it's totally fine. So just throwing that out there. And then my journey was basically I ranked every 2 months and was just like game on. As soon as I went silver, I was like, okay, not dabbling anymore. How do I get to gold? And how do I get there fast? And then, so I got myself to gold as quick as possible, which is I think 2 months. And then I signed up my husband and I was like, okay, let's get him to gold. And I didn't really think through the process, but we ended up getting me to gold as fast as possible, then him to gold as fast as possible. And he was kind of in this transition of like, I don't care if you share. And then he was, you know, obviously game for doing the products. And then he's like, well, it was kind of a process for him. He started, you can hear his story on a different video if you're curious of his perspective, but basically skeptic turned whole hog in supportive hubby who's now almost sapphire. And he works Plexus with me full time. So he just started researching network marketing, and it wasn't what he thought it was. And also he trusted me with health stuff anyways. And so he was always in for the products, but he started to basically refer people to me because he has a lot of influence in his circles. And he's also a bit older than me. So he's been around a little bit longer and has had time to develop more relationships with people. But so I went emerald in 11 months, and then my journey to sapphire and diamond took longer. So I went sapphire 14 months later, I think. And then diamond, well, that was June, and then diamond in September of 2017. Yeah, 2017. So that's kind of the basic gist of my story. I'm so thankful for the products because they've blessed their health. My kids have seen, we don't have eczema anymore, allergies, so many things. Our guts are so much better. I feel like we're kind of genetically predisposed to gut health problems. And so I'm thankful for the benefits from that. Justin has seen good things in his health. And then from the business standpoint, it's just been such a game changer. I was thinking of this when I was cooking some dinner for my kids tonight. How blessed are we? We have such a wonderful opportunity, just a way to bless other people. And also just from the business standpoint, I know it looks different than maybe working at the hospital for a 12-hour shift, but how awesome is it? We truly have, I feel like, the best of both worlds. I feel like I can be all in as a mom. I homeschool 6 kids, so it's the crazy life. I have kids with me all the time. But I'm so thankful to be all in with my priorities in life, which is to be a wife and a mom, but also to be able to have such a wonderful opportunity that gifts us in big ways. And so I know Emily had given a couple of questions that she submitted to me that I was just going to kind of breeze through really quick to just share my perspective with y'all. And so one of the questions was, how do I typically approach people about plexus? And I mean, I feel like it's kind of like what everyone else says. It's, I mean, I've seen all the different messages, and I've used Brooke Hemingway's, that one, you may be 1,000% not interested type message. But I feel like you can't really say the wrong thing to the right person, if that makes sense. Because when I was looking into plexus, I was intrigued. Like, I didn't see posts and think, oh my word, she's so annoying. Like, I never thought of that, I guess, because the people that were sharing were coming from an educational standpoint, and maybe because I tracked with gut health anyways, it was just interesting to me. And so I feel like even the messages that I received from people, I wasn't turned off by those. And even when I've gotten messages from other people in other companies, even pre-plexus, I would have gone back and looked at those messages just to, one, see how I responded, because I feel like my perspective now is so different. Like, my responses aren't, one, to ignore people, and two, I'm not afraid to say no, but to say it in a gracious way, and explain a little bit my heart or whatever. If I'm really not interested in Usborne books right now, I'll just tell them, like, hey, I just supported my friend last month, or I have a couple of other sources, right? But I was actually proud of my response because to this girl that messaged me about Norwex. I just didn't see the need for the products at that point, because I made a lot of my own clean products and felt like I had what I needed there. But my response was gracious, and I didn't feel annoyed by the message. I think because it was so heartfelt, and she was just like, I know you're a crunchy mom. I know you're super careful about the toxins in your home. And I just thought of this opportunity, so it was super well thought out and gracious. So I feel like if you're formulating a message that's personal to the person and not just a blast copy paste message, people hear that heart, you know what I mean? They sense that mindset. So I feel like having the correct mindset behind whatever message we send, even if it is a blitz message, because I do copy paste messages sometimes just to get the word out there, because just statistically, if I contact 100 people, I'm going to have a 10% response rate, right? And I can usually sign between 3 and 5 people. So there is an aspect of just getting out there, contacting people, probably they've seen my post already or they've considered it. So it's not going to be, this huge surprise. But so I guess my response there is just kind of get the word out. Think of it as like you're talking to them in person. And I feel like it depends on the relationship to the person too, because if it's someone that I went to music camp with in 2000, my response or my reach out to them is going to be kind of different than if it's someone that is like my sister's friend's music teacher's daughter. You know what I mean? Like, the relationship just isn't, I don't have history with that person. So my reach out might be less personal. I feel like it's weird if the reach out is overly personal. Like, I don't say, hey girl, and I don't act like they're my bestie if I've never spoken to them. So it's more of a like, hey, I know you maybe have seen my posts. You may not be interested at all whatsoever, but I'm just messaging people today because I feel so blessed because of how much my health has changed through using this particular supplement line, and I'm just getting the word out there. And I was curious if you've ever checked into plexus, or if you'd be open to hearing my story or gain for a sample. I mean, you have to just kind of pitch it just to throw it out there.
Can I ask a question? If you say, would you be open to hearing my story, and they say yes, I'm like, oh gosh, I don't even know what to say now. Like, what do you say when people are like, yeah, I'd love to hear your story?
I would maybe tag them in my testimony post, or I would send just a voice message back and say, just do a super brief, like 60-second little message about how it's helped me, and ask a question that provokes them to respond back. or invite them like, hey, I'm so excited. We actually have a little event coming up on Thursday where I'm sharing my story, or to try to plug them into something where they can hear more. Or sometimes I try to move it to a phone conversation. Like if they're open to hearing more of my story, sometimes I'm like, yeah, I would love to share my story with you. It might be easier to chat on the phone. Like, is that something to be open to? It kind of depends on your relationship with the person. I maybe wouldn't move it to a phone conversation that quick, but I do try to move it to a phone conversation as quick as possible. Once people kind of express interest to me and are curious to learn more, because I feel like sometimes Facebook there's just like a veil there. There's only so much that people usually share, unless they're overly chatty or they use voice messenger a lot. They're probably not going to send me 3 long messages about their health goals and struggles, right? So I feel like as soon as I can talk to them on the phone, it's better. I do cold message people. So I know Justin, my husband's like, oh my word, I don't cold message. I'm like, oh, I do. And it works. I just kind of, I don't have a huge response rate, but I feel like doing the things, and the things are basically posting, sharing with people, and that looks like connecting, and also just getting the word out, cold messaging or whatever. Like when I say cold message, I mean kind of like random messaging people. Like it's not people I like really have a relationship with, but it works. It creates what I call plexus energy. One, the speed of the leader is the speed of the team. So I feel like if I am not in at least some sort of activity in my own personal business, my team will be either. That's just maybe a weird mindset that I have, but I just feel like, how can I expect my team to be doing things if I'm not? And I know there's different seasons in our business. So like where I'm at now looks different than when I was like gunning for Emerald, or in a funk stalled out after I hit Emerald and was not moving in points for 14 months. So there were some seasons in my business where I had to put in massive action, and that whole 10x committed person, amount of effort was something that I have definitely done. And I've put it into turbo gear, in several different seasons into my business. And every time that I've done that, it's kind of like that Eric Worre idea. How to, that video that he does, how to recruit 20 people in 30 days. That thing works. Even you set the intention and work your butt off to do that. There's 1 month that I did sign 20. That wasn't all ambassadors, but that was insanity. But I think I've done that 3 times over the course of my business. And every time that I've done that, that's when business builders have joined me. When I look back at and pinpoint the people that are runners on my team, those blitz times are when those people joined. And maybe the people that I signed up in that particular month, maybe I only got 12, right? But I'm talking from last April, okay? It was convention contest was ending, and it was like neck and neck on that 7th spot, right? So I just like put it in turbo gear, right? And just that action created what I call plexus energy in my team. And there was a lady that had ordered products about 18 months before, super sick with Lyme disease. She was a cold contact, a friend of a friend that I saw post on Facebook. And it was kind of my scary thing for the day. But I just was like, well, what am I out? I don't know her. If she gets mad at me, like, that's okay. But she's like, sure, I'll try it. She ordered, did not take the products for 18 months. That month that I was gunning for, the top 7th spot, right? I was in momentum, in activity, in action. She all of a sudden decided to take her products 18 months later, had amazing results. She herxed for like 2 weeks. Okay. So detox like crazy. But came out of the fog, came out of the funk. She got herself to silver and her husband silver at the end of April, added 70 people herself in the month of May, and went ruby in 3 months. So all that to say, you may feel like you're hitting a wall and you don't hit your goal, but the action that you're putting in, you may be like just around the corner from your business going from here to out the wazoo. So just as an encouragement there's been several several circumstances on my team where someone that had been on my team for at least a year or more somehow got the vision. Just something clicked with them. I have yet to pinpoint what that is because it's usually different for each person. And I don't know that it was anything I said or did, but it was just them kind of catching the vision after, I don't know, exposure for a certain amount of time, or just personal experience with the products and where they're maybe at in their season of life or in their own mindset, right? And so all that to say, you may not realize that you have gold on your team. And so continue to reach out and help people restart their products. And don't be afraid to reach out and let people know what you see in them. If you see that, you know, there's someone that is highly influential and that would do really well at this opportunity, don't feel bad to reach out and just say, hey, I'm helping people go silver this month. What are your thoughts? Like, would you be game for sharing with a couple people if I help you make a post? I mean, sometimes it's just being bold and saying, hey, what are your thoughts? Like, I'll help you. You don't have to do it by yourself. So, okay. So slow growth. Have I ever been in slow growth? Yes. In the beginning of when I started, a lot of people came to me by me posting. I did reach out to people. I was very haphazard. So if you're looking for someone that's super organized and amazing and has beautiful spreadsheets and stuff, I don't. So let that be an encouragement to you. You don't have to be the most talented, the most organized, the smartest person. But if you are willing to commit to massive action, you can be successful in this business because it's a simple business. And so when my growth slowed, I had to do more messaging. I had to do more reaching out, which is uncomfortable for me even now. Because when you're reaching out, you don't know if people are interested or curious. And the head trash in me wants to say, well, if they were interested, they would come to you because they know what you do. But people are busy and people aren't always on Facebook. So you may be thinking that you're preaching to the choir and everyone's sick and tired of your posts. But in reality, they're busy and they may see, 0.2% of the things you ever say on Facebook, right? So that's how I got out of slow growth, is activity and action. Action cures everything. And so in light of when I had stalled out with my team, we were an Emerald team, and then just the brakes went on for 14 months. And it was the beginning of the year of 2016 that I said, not 16, was it? Yeah, it was 2016. And I said, well, this is up to me. I got to get this train moving. I think part of it, a little bit, was that I had the Hawaii trip, I had the car, and I had the 6-figure income. Now what, right? So my dream had to get bigger. My mindset had to get larger. It had to expand for me to grow. And so it was a little bit mindset. I was also fearful, because I saw a lot of people get to Emerald and then nothing else. No, that's where they stop. That's like their lid, which I think a lot of people, that's all they want. They hit their goal, they're done. They have the title, whatever. For me, that was concerning because I wanted growth, because to me, I want to see my own teammates hit their goals. And so that meant I wasn't stopping at Emerald. That was not going to be my lid. And what got me out of the funk was my mindset and also getting into activity. And I basically said, okay, I have the Emerald team. I love my team. They're amazing. They're awesome. But I'm going to pretend like I am a brand new ambassador. I'm starting over. And this month, January 1st, I'm going to pretend like I'm going to go silver for the very first time. And let's see how much action I can put into my business to add a lot of level ones. So basically create another team outside my team, okay? And I remember Jessica Heffley saying to us, she said, if you plan to rank up this year in 2016, or maybe this was 2017, I can't remember now, the years kind of blend together. She said, you need to personally sponsor 10 ambassadors by March. And so the crazy person in me, which we're just starting this book study called the 10X Rule. This guy says, don't do what normal people do. Do 10 times what they do. And for whatever reason, that's what I did. As I took Jessica's advice and I times it by 10. I said, okay, I'm doing 10 a month from January through March. And January, I don't remember how many people I signed, but I had massive action, and I continued it into February, and I continued that into March, and I was on fire. I was on gear. It's dreary here in Illinois. There's not a lot to do. My babies were sleeping in the afternoon, so guess what I was doing? I was doing IPA. And by March, it's that 90-day rule. Again, what you do today impacts what happens in 90 days. And that was the month I had signed the most people I'd ever signed. And where a whole new influx of new business builders came in. So, and I reach out in terms of like, do I lead with the products of the business? I kind of lead a lot with the products. I guess because that's why I joined. And I think I probably would have been turned off if someone approached me with the business. I don't know. It probably would have taken the right person to have approached me with the business part of it. But I feel like whatever way you reach out, it's opening a door. And I feel like once people sign on, then you definitely need to have that conversation about the business just to see where they're at with it. Oh yeah, did you unmute? You good? Okay. So in light of going silver, helping people go silver and get their products paid for, I'll just address that right now because my system has been fine-tuned. I was kind of willy-nilly. I would just get people signed and be on to the next person. But now I realize, and I feel like because I was in such personal momentum myself and such high activity, I feel like the go-getters that I signed basically just followed suit. They kind of followed my example with that, which was a blessing. But I have also realized that we'll get a lot more people to do a little bit if we handhold some and approach that conversation. Instead of assuming that they're not wanting anything to do with sharing, why not assume that they actually would be kind of intrigued? I've been pleasantly surprised by asking what I felt like was kind of an uncomfortable question. I feel like the more you ask it, the more it's not so intimidating. When you're signing people up over the phone, okay, so help them get joined over the phone so you can have those conversations about how to start their products and the expectations and how to get in contact with you or how you should contact them, because sometimes people don't use Facebook Messenger and they go MIA. I hate that. So I feel like kind of getting the expectations out in the open and then asking, hey, what are your thoughts about sharing? And then let them tell you what they think. And so I guess I just approach it in a question format. And then if they're open to sharing, I'm like, okay, well, let's make a post and see what happens. And then I'll stalk that post and coach them on what to say to people that like and comment, right? So if they're game for making a post and they actually follow through and do it, I will send them the verbiage. They literally copy and paste it and put a picture with it. And then if they have done that, I'll approach them with Jordan Roddenberry's idea with, hey, what are your thoughts if I hosted a little online event for you so you can just share with friends and family what you're doing? Most people go silver if you do that for them. And it's not hard. You can pre-schedule all those posts, just go live at the beginning and the end and do a little blitzy thing and help people get signed. So that's a great thing to offer for your people. And I don't know why I didn't ever even think about offering that. I just started doing this in November for people and it's been successful. So that's that. And then biggest tip for keeping track of people, I actually have a little binder. So I'm a pen and paper person, so I have this little binder from Target. And I have my team on paper. So I can see them at a glance, who I haven't talked with. And I have kind of my runners and business builders. And then I have a page of dabblers or potential silvers. And then I have my wholesalers and adopted people and customers, just so that I can kind of at a glance see them and not try to not let people fall through the cracks. But
just your level ones, or is this mainly your 1s through 3s?
It's just level ones for business builders. Sometimes I have listed out to the side my top people, but I already know that now at this point. And so that just helps. That was something I learned from Jessica Heffley. I'm like, why did I not know to do this? Kind of categorize my own team. And even the people I see potential with for going silver, there's potential with everyone, but sometimes there's a little bit more, maybe someone's more chatty with you, or they give you more feedback. And so I, a lot of times will, quarterly make a new list of people and reach out to them about going silver. But I have personally sponsored so many people that it's slightly overwhelming to me when I try to decide to go, message my level ones. But I at least have my workers and I'm communicating with in different chat threads and things like that. So that's kind of how I keep track. I do use Marco Polo, and I think it's a great tool. And it's face-to-face, so it gives that connection piece. And then the last question that was there was about being balanced, about being a present wife and a mom and a successful business owner. And Brooke Hemingway actually talked on our call the other night, and I really appreciated her perspective. And she said, we're not just one thing. You're not just a mom. You're not just a wife. You're not just a Christian, or and that really spoke to me. I think because I've had a guilt factor, because as I've gone through life, life becomes kind of more complicated. Because when you were a kid, and then for me, I became a Christian. And so it was almost like I had this idea that I had to be only one thing. Well, life is not only one thing, right? Our time is spent in multiple different ways. You can't spend all your life or all your time in a given day reading your Bible and praying. You have to eat, you have to cook food, you have to make money. That's just life, right? And so this idea of, I just had, I guess, a weird mindset behind that. Same with being a mom. Being a mom is not the only thing you are. There's other aspects to you it's good to be healthy and balanced in a way where you are, feeding, fueling, and exercising other aspects of you. Same with being a wife, But I think the idea is that when it's time to be a wife, you're all in, right? You're focused. When it's time to do plexus, you're all in, you're focused. When it's time to be mom, you're all in, you're focused. And it's kind of one of those things where you have to decide, you have to find that alignment for you, where that balance is. It's give and take. When I look at there's no one perfect day in my life, right? I seek to time block, so from early morning to about 9:30, I have to get ready, exercise, read, get some plexus stuff done, and then I'm full on. School starts at 9:30. We go to about 12:30 or 1, and then we take a break for lunch, and then I have different kids. My children all play instruments, so it's music practice in the afternoons, and babies lay down for a nap. And I'm working on scheduling that time so that I have time for plexus in the afternoon, and I'm not burning the candle too late at night. Because a lot of time, I feel like for my whole plexus journey, it's kind of been, I've worked it while my kids have slept, which has been, I was up with a baby at night anyway, so it's kind of a way for me to redeem that time. But at some point, you can only sacrifice so much sleep, right? Before you get crabby. So it's finding that balance for what works for you. I feel like it's one of those things. It's kind of like when I talk to a new mom about how the process I went through to have a natural birth with my baby, right? So I can tell them the things that I did, the coping techniques, the different positions I use, the different essential, all the things. I can tell someone how I had a baby, but when the rubber meets the road, you're going to have to go in and have that baby yourself. You're going to have to figure out your mindset, your process, your system, right? And work within your own body limitations for that process. So I feel like it's kind of similar in the sense, I can share what I do. I can kind of show the roadmap, plug people into information and training calls and things like that. But ultimately, you have to figure out, your work hours, when you're going to work your business, all those types of things. Because, when it comes down to it, my goal is to be successful at the priorities in my life. I don't have 10 priorities. I'm a wife, I'm a mom, I do plexus. I also believe that all in life is ministry. And so that's just part of our life. And I also am a crazy fanatic person about music education. So I'm a violinist, pianist, violist, and I do a lot of church music. So that's just like passions of my life. And I feel like they kind of interweave, so there's a give and take in every day. And so some days I'm homeschooling and momming a whole lot more than I'm doing Plexus. But there are some bare bone basics that I try to make sure I get done. I try to be attentive to my team. If I get some sort of urgent request or message or question, I try to respond. But at the end of the day, like, there's no Plexus emergencies. And I'm learning to be a little bit more less urgent because I'm at a point in my business where I don't have to respond to every message every minute. We don't have to be working. We can be all in without working our business all the time. So I really feel like it's doing the best that we can, really being a 10x committed person. And then the time that we do have to work, that we're really focused and intentional. And you can be a good mom and a good wife, or whatever your particular life circumstances, and be successful in Plexus. So that's all I've got. Are there any questions or thoughts that anyone has to share?
That was awesome. I'm going to have other people comment too, but I do have a question with your IPAs. So when you do a lot of messaging, are you specifically, like, we just came off of our 100-person reach out challenge, and it was so great. And I told everybody, you can't do connecting messages. They have to be about Plexus. But when we do our weekly accountability calls, we do allow connection messages. I don't know, like, what do you do when you are doing the rubber meets the road and you are doing full on crazy IPAs? Is it all Plexus, or is it a combination of connection and Plexus?
It kind of depends on the day. Like, sometimes I'll be like, okay, today I'm feeling kind of blitzy. I'm going to go over to Instagram and see who's been following my stuff. And I'll just blitz message and introduce myself to 25 different people that follow my stuff that I don't know. And so that would be more of like connecting. I have done blitzy, send out 10, 15, 20 messages on Instagram of people I don't know and just reach out about Plexus. So it's kind of like all the things. And sometimes if I'm going to go through my downloaded Facebook friends list or something, sometimes I base it off of like what I sometimes base it off of intuition, if that makes sense. So, I mean, maybe it's the girl that sang at my wedding that's an opera singer, super successful, and she's a dream team person. And there was some times where I just reached out to her to connect with her, and then there was a time where I reached out to her specifically about Plexus. So I don't know if it's just guided through prayer or God, intuition. I don't know what that is, but sometimes I do that, and sometimes I just say, hey, I don't care who it is on the list. I'm not going to overthink or think I should connect with them first. I'm just going to message them and get it out there. So I think the biggest thing with that is not to feel held back by fear.
That's awesome. Does anybody have any other questions? Megan has been so amazing today. I've got a whole list of notes. Does anybody have any other questions for Megan Goff, one of Plexus's most successful ambassadors?
Jessica Heffley says, do something scary every day. So whatever that scary thing is, just do it.
I have a question. How much time goes between, like, you're talking to someone and then you sign them up? Because, like you said, you had these months where you're just going to add 20 people. And I'm like, I would love to do that, but like, I'm talking currently like 75 people, it seems like, who all like are interested, but they've been interested for a couple of months. You know what I mean? So like, how do you close those deals, and how do you just all of a sudden decide to sign these people? Is it linked to your IPAs, or do you go back to previous conversations, or just kind of that general question?
Yeah, I definitely go back to people I've messaged. I mass messaged a message that was kind of like, last April. I was basically just reaching out to say, hey, I have found some wonderful supplements, a really high quality omega probiotic and multivitamin, and I'm doing a little special, and I had like a dollar amount that I put in there. just because I was wanting to sign people. So it was, maybe came off a little desperate. I don't know. But I just said, hey, if you would be game for giving this a try, I would be so honored. I would love to work with you if you're interested, or if you know of someone that is interested. So it was kind of that type of message. But I messaged that to people. I'm trying to think. I think I don't mind messaging people I've messaged before. That's still a reach out to me. That's not a follow up. Let's see. What was your question exactly? I don't know if I answered your question.
I guess kind of just how you close, like how long
Oh,
it took you to like start a conversation before you like sound, I don't know, sometimes I feel like I sound pushy when I'm like, okay, so are you ready to get going on these? Like, we've talked about it, you're interested, you've been interested for a while. How do you get to that point where you're signing those people actually?
Oh, I see. Yeah. So I will just ask them. I'll just say, hey, I'm helping people get started today. I would love to help you get your order in. I know we've chatted about Plexus, and let's just get you started. Because I go back to what Jessica says. She's like, you cannot help people unless they start. Like, they can be in every gut health class you lead for the next 6 months, but unless they actually try the products. So sometimes that looks like me giving them a little special. I do specials all the time. So sometimes I'll just say, hey, I know we chatted about Plexus last week or last month or whenever you chatted. I'm helping get people started here at the first of the year because I know a lot of people have healthy goals and they want to get ahead of that curve. And so I have a special going. Are you game for getting started? That's what I'll just ask it like that. Are you game for getting started? So I kind of have the mindset that I want to help people get started. I also want to move them through my funnel really fast. Have you read that book, Get Over Yourself book? That book was really good because she's talked about the constipated funnel and how we want people to make a decision. I either want them to tell me no or tell me yes. If their answer is no and they're just delaying that because they feel bad telling me no, I just want them to tell me that. So sometimes if they're not responding, I'll just say something like, hey, did that message come through okay? I wasn't sure if you'd seen that yet. Or I have never actually used this, but one of my girls on my team will say, hey, did I offend you? She's like, usually that gets a response. So if it's someone that's like not responding back to you, you can sometimes I'll just try to get a response from them. Also, I'll throw out a product tester post. Those things are awesome. I don't roll them out that often, but it's at, like 1 through 10. They basically comment below with their, health concerns. But I feel like when I've thrown that out, it pretty much every time except once when I've used that, I've been able to sign at least a couple of people because it usually gathers in people that are like really considering it and thinking about it, and I had no idea. And usually from that post, I know they're ready and we can get them started right away. The other thing that I'll do sometimes is do a little pink drink giveaway, and I'll do like 1 stick or 3 sticks or a 3-day trial pack or something, but I'll get a lot of people liking and commenting on it, and it also shows me who's kind of also intrigued and interested that I may not have realized. So those are some things that I've used. I feel like also making sure that our posts are being seen by more than just our Plexus people and like our mom, our BFF, and our church family. Do you ever feel like those are the only people that see the posts? So trying to like go and engage people. And this is something I did in July and signed 8 people. I think it had to do with algorithms. And so I would just take a page of my downloaded Facebook friends list, and anyone that was not a Plexus person, I would go and comment on their Facebook wall on something. And I really feel like it helped my exposure. So, and I learned that from Trisha Rieger. She was just saying you always want to have other people, like different people, seeing your posts. So it goes back to that whole being social and social media thing.
Okay, so many amazing notes. Thank you so much, Megan. I don't want to keep you any longer. I know that you've given us 45 minutes and we feel so blessed by you. Thank you so much for your time, and thank you so much for all of your tips. I know so many people really respect you, and so many people on my team really look up to you because you are a godly woman. You love your husband, you love your children, you make it known that those are your priorities. And I think it's very easy to see other people who just are like constantly only about plexus. And I think just nobody's perfect. And I'm sure that there are things that you struggle with in those boundary areas. But I think just people have so much respect for you because you're able to do it well and with grace and with faith and with integrity. And that's the heart of our team. And so we really, really appreciate you taking the time to come and love on us and share your tips with us. So thank you so much for blessing us, Megan. Okay, well, it's frozen. Oh, okay. Well, we'll talk to you soon. Thank you. Bye.